Hi all. In this look at Good Strategy, Bad Strategy, Chapter 7, we'll see the concept of proximate objectives. And as you might derive from those words, proximate means close, objectives are your goals, and these are the concept of having goals that are up close, that you can see, and you can accomplish. And I think that the author makes a very good point here, that a leadership skill, a key leadership skill, is the ability to create these kind of proximate objectives. Targets that are meaningful and attainable over a short amount of time, that people can see that they can accomplish, because there's a lot of frustration when it comes to things that you don't get to, as you know from your personal life, I'm sure. Business leaders and commentators on strategy will often say, let's come up with these visionary goals, or really stretching goals, or things that are way out there, and they say, let's do a 5-year goal of X huge number, and their concept is that if we fall short of that, we've still obtained a lot. And sometimes they say, we don't ever really expect you to ever get there, but that we want to get as close as possible. That has I think within limits you can do something like that. You can say we want 300 new loans in 2020. If you have 0, that's difficult. If you have 275 and you get to 295, well, you've come awfully close, and there's probably a real reason why you didn't get there. So I think that you don't want to understate your goals, but I think it's really important psychologically, mentally, and for the good of the team to have a leader that will set goals that are realistic and you can come up front. Now, a big part of what a leader's job, as Dr. Rommel points out, is to absorb the complexity of a situation and break it down into simple tasks and clear tasks that his people can manage and do. Not only absorbing the complexity, but also absorbing the pressure. A good leader realizes there are a lot of different and difficult things to accomplish, tremendous pressure, but I want to share some of that pressure with the people that work for me, but that's part of my job, is to absorb that and break the pressure down and the concepts down and the objectives down into workable, manageable, feasible things that the team can accomplish. And goals are often shaped by the dynamics of the situation. And I think you see this in some of the other readings we've looked at. You have to really be aware of how difficult, complex, and unknown or known the situation is. For example, if you are you cannot set a 3, 4, 5-year plan in an industry and in a market where you cannot see beyond a short-term horizon. For example, some countries you'll be in, the inflation will be in hundreds, if not thousands %. How do you budget 5 years in an environment like that? You might be in a place where there's great political turmoil, or that the market, the product set is changing so fast that it's difficult to see beyond this quarter, next quarter, or 4 quarters. So it's really imperative to look at this situation, look at how much activity, what you know and don't know, and tailor your solution, your strategic objectives to that, so make it realistic. Now, you see from our other readings on the Inspired Logical Strategy That Works book, from the Principles of Strategy, you see that the proximate objectives tie in closely to the concept of looking at things that matter, big, cheap, and now, things that really are possible to do, that you can do with the people around you, and you can affect and happen now. You want to focus on near-term implementation and get quick results. These are very powerful things. They're psychologically positive, and they're good for your company, and they're good for your career. You really want to do things that are set a reasonable number of goals as well. You don't want to have like 25 or 30 goals for a given year. I like 5 or less. Big goals a year. You accomplish those, you've done a lot, you'll probably get promoted. So I think this is a really interesting chapter. I think that it's a leadership skill, and something that if you're on the other end of that and somebody's telling you to do a bunch of things, you don't get it, think back and say, you know what, don't use that word proximate objective. You say, you need to tell me what you want me to do in the now, and is it possible, and define that so you can be successful, accomplish that task. Thanks a lot.